Good morning, children. So we have to start with the B part of the chapter, different forms of energy. So last chapter we finished, we just saw what is energy. So energy is the capacity to do work. So as you know, practically we have various forms of energy. Simply heat energy, light energy, sound energy, mechanical energy. So like that we have different forms of energy. So we are going to study about two forms of energy. One is potential energy, other one is kinetic energy. Now in the types of energy, mechanical energy is one type of energy, like how you have sound energy, heat energy, like that. Mechanical energy is one type of energy. Okay, now this has two types. One is potential energy, other one is kinetic energy. Okay, under mechanical energy we have potential energy and kinetic energy. Now potential energy you all have studied in lower classes. This is the energy possessed by a body at rest, and this is the energy possessed by a moving body. So we are going to see in detail about these two forms of energy. First, about potential energy. Potential energy. Now, in potential energy, again there are two types. One is gravitational potential energy and the other one elastic potential energy. Gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. So, gravitational, from the name we can understand that any body taken to a height h. Okay, so this is the ground and a body is at a height h from the ground. So this body is supposed to have potential energy. This body is supposed to have potential energy. When it is at this height, it is having potential energy. Okay, that is called gravitational potential energy. Okay, and then now where did it get this energy from? Where did it get this energy from? Now, for this body to reach to this height, some work was done. Yeah, I need to do some work to take it to this height. Now, whatever work was done in that, it is stored in the body as potential energy. It is stored in the body as potential energy. Okay, so when suppose I drop a stone which is at a height and you keep your foot here, if it's falling from a height, you're going to get injured. Why? This stone, as the height increases, its energy will also increase, and with that energy it causes harm to you. Okay, so remember that in gravitational potential energy, where did it get the energy from? The work done to take the body to this height. Now why you have to do work? Because force of gravity has a tendency to pull it down, so definitely you have to do a work against force of gravity to lift it to a height this. Now that work is stored in this as potential energy. So this is the concept that you have to understand. Coming to elastic potential energy. So elastic means any deformed body which has a change in size has an elastic potential energy. So simple example is this rubber band. Okay, so when I stretch it, I do some work. Okay, so that is stored in it as potential energy. Therefore, in the stretch state, when I leave, it can jump or it can go for such a long distance. Okay, so the concept is the work done to deform the body is stored in the body as potential energy, and when I release it, this gets converted to kinetic energy, and it can, you know that what will, if you leave a stretched rubber band, it can jump over, and yeah, so that is what will happen. Okay, now I want you to look at the book, page number 30. Okay, hope you are able to see something. Yeah, so here is the definition of potential energy. In potential energy, fourth line, from it starts from fourth line. Gravitational potential energy. The potential energy possessed by a body due to force of attraction of earth is called gravitational potential energy. That's the definition. And then its cause, okay, I'll come to the cause later. Then elastic potential energy. The definition is here, sixth line from the last. The potential energy possessed by a body in the deformed state due to change in size or shape is called elastic potential energy. Okay, and then the cause of this energy, where does this energy come from? It is the amount of work done in deforming the body, that is to change the size or shape of the body, that is stored in it as potential energy. Cause of gravitational potential energy is here. Okay, so work done in lifting the body up is stored, it gets stored in the body in the form of gravitational potential energy. Okay, the work done in lifting it against gravity is stored as gravitational potential energy. So that is the cause of potential gravitational potential energy. This is the cause of elastic potential energy. Now, for gravitational potential energy, we can get a formula also, because it is at a height h above the ground. So, potential energy is usually represented by symbol U, letter U. Okay, so though it doesn't have anything to do with the word potential, yeah, or gravitational, but the letter U, capital U, is used always. So force into energy is the same formula as the work done. So U is equal to force into displacement. Here, because it is under gravity, m into g, f will become m into g, and s will become h. So same thing you had in A part, work done against gravity, the same thing will be the expression for gravitational potential energy. Okay, so next that you have to underline and write formula. Gravitational potential energy U is equal to mgh. Okay, so you can please read through it, it gives you a better idea about this concept. Then come to another two conclusions. Now, whenever a body is raised from height h1 to h2, suppose a body was at a height h1 above the ground, this is h1, and it has to be raised to a height h2. Okay, this ball has to be lifted from here to here, this is at a height h2 above the ground. Then we say there is gain in potential energy. Potential energy increases basically, so gain in potential energy will be mg h2 minus mg h1, or mg h2 minus h1. So this expression sometimes they ask. Okay, now this is while going up. Now a body is at a height h1 and it is coming down to a height h2 above ground. Okay, here it was going up, here it is coming down. In that case there will be loss in potential energy, that will be mg h1 minus h2, mg h1 minus h2. Is it clear, children? So when it goes up, there will be gain in kinetic energy. When it comes down, there will be loss in kinetic energy. Okay, that is given here. You can underline this. Conclusions, you can just write conclusions. When a body of mass m is taken up from height h1 to a height h2 above the ground, h2 greater than h1, the gain in potential energy is mg h2 minus h1. If a body falls down from a height above the ground, loss in potential energy is mg h1 minus h2. Okay, so potential energy, mostly only this much. So the two types, gravitational and elastic, and then the formula for gravitational potential energy mgh, and then you have gain in potential energy, loss in potential energy. So we'll have numericals based on that, which we will do when we do the numericals. Now we go to kinetic energy. Now we go to the next topic, that is kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is represented by letter K. Okay, potential energy by capital U, kinetic energy by K. Now what is the definition of kinetic energy? It's the energy possessed by a moving body. So that is given in the first block. The energy possessed by a body due to its state of motion is called kinetic energy. So next topic is expression for kinetic energy. You have to derive a formula for kinetic energy. That is the next topic, and this derivation is important. It is so you are supposed to study that. Okay. Now, so we need to derive a formula for kinetic energy. Suppose, remember, this is imagine that this is a moving car. It is, so because it is moving, it's having kinetic energy, and I have to find a formula for that. Now, the principle that I am going to use is, now it is moving, because it is moving, it's having kinetic energy. Now I am bringing an opposite force. Okay, I am bringing an opposite force and stopping it. So whatever was the work done by this opposing force to bring this body to rest will be the kinetic energy. It is one way of calculating kinetic energy. So I call that as the principle. Okay, principle means to derive it, I am going to use this logic that there is a moving body. To stop it, I am applying an opposing force. Why do I call it opposing force? It's in the opposite direction. Now, whatever work was done by this force in bringing this body to rest, it will be the kinetic energy. Okay, that is the logic that we are going to use. So I have given the title for the first paragraph as principle. Okay, principle. So kinetic energy, so you can underline that, kinetic energy possessed by a moving body is equal to the amount which the moving body can do before coming to rest. Okay, actually it is the work done by this before coming to rest, but it is very difficult to calculate of the moving body. So I am using this another force to bring it to stop, and whatever was the work done will be the same as the kinetic energy. So it can be calculated, that is kinetic energy can be calculated by finding amount of work done by an opposing force to stop the body. Okay, so you can just write principle, or this is the concept that we are going to use in this derivation. Then, okay, generally whenever you do a derivation, you need to start with the assumptions properly. Okay, so let us assume that a body of mass m, okay, these are your assumptions, body of mass m was moving with a initial velocity. Now usually we take initial velocity u. In this derivation we'll take it as v. Is it clear, children? So we'll take it as v. Final velocity 0. Final velocity 0, because this car was moving with the velocity v. When I apply an opposing force, it comes to rest. So final velocity is 0. Initial velocity is v. And opposing force, okay, F is the opposing force. Opposing force F. And then displacement. See, when you put a brake or something, it takes a few seconds for it to come to rest. It's not going to stop immediately. Okay, to change from that, the velocity with which it was going to come to rest, during that time it does undergo some displacement. Okay, so that displacement is S. Okay, so these are the assumptions that we are going to take for the derivation. Body of mass m, initial velocity v, final velocity 0, opposing force F, displacement S. Okay, so please keep noting down this derivation as I do on the board, children. You can pause it and write it. Okay, I don't have space, so I'm erasing it and I'm starting off the derivation. Now, your derivation will start like this. What the concept that you're going to use? Kinetic energy of a body. Okay. So instead of writing kinetic energy, I'm writing KE. Kinetic energy of the body is equal to work done by the opposing force in bringing it to rest. The same thing which you wrote it as theory, here they have written it as written it in the form of an equation. Kinetic energy is equal to work done by the retarding force and displacement before stopping it. Okay. Now, work done, we know the formula, force into displacement. Work done is force into displacement. Now, here I am not putting m into g. Why? That's only for a falling body. Now, this is body moving, not under gravity. It's under. Okay, so don't write m into okay, so m into a. F is equal to ma, not mg, into s. Okay. Now, we are going to get an expression for s, that is displacement, in terms of initial velocity, final velocity and all that. Okay. I hope you remember the equations of motion. Shall we quickly recollect them? First equation, v is equal to u plus at. Second equation, s is equal to ut plus half at square. Third equation, v squared minus u squared is equal to 2as. I told you last year itself, these three equations will keep coming following you till 12th standard. So please remember them thoroughly. Okay. So we are going to use the third equation. V square minus u square is equal to 2as. Okay. Here u is the initial velocity, v is the final velocity. Now go back to your assumptions. According to our assumption, final velocity is 0. Initial velocity I have taken as v. So please, in place of u, you will take v square is equal to 2, because it is undergoing retardation. Yeah, body is undergoing retardation. You will have minus a into s. Okay, so minus v square is equal to minus 2as. Minus and minus will get cut. So s is equal to v square by 2a. As I told you, I am trying to get an expression for s from this equation. So I am getting this expression, s is equal to v square by 2a, which I am going to substitute here. So m into a is already there, into, in place of s I write v square by 2a. V square by 2a. So a and a will get cut. So I'll end up with this formula. So 1 by 2, okay, half m into v square. So this is the expression for kinetic energy. Half m v square. I hope you have understood, children. So first, this is the principle that you're going to use. Kinetic energy, we are going to calculate by the work done by the opposing force to bring it to rest. So work done means force into displacement. F is m into a into s. So I have to get an expression for s in terms of u and v, for which I go to the third equation of motion. V squared minus u squared is equal to 2as. Okay, and then I get the value for s, and I put it here and get the expression for kinetic energy as half mv squared. Okay, so this derivation must be written in your notebook. Okay, so I hope you paused it and kept writing it. Okay, so the final expression is here. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So it's directly proportional to mass and directly proportional to square of velocity. Directly proportional to square of velocity. So based on this, there are some logical questions which we will do later. Now, come to the next topic, relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. Relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. So, again, I hope you remember momentum. What is momentum? momentum? Momentum is force into velocity. If you remember, momentum symbol is P. We used to use the Newton's second law. Mass into velocity. Okay. And then kinetic energy, just now we derived half mv square. Kinetic energy is half mv square. Now, from this, somewhere I have to relate K and P. I have to get a formula relating K and P. Remember that. That's my aim. So V, I can take it as P by M from here. V will be P by M. So, in kinetic energy formula, instead of V, I am going to write P by M, the whole square. Because V square is there, P by M the whole square. So, it will be half into M into P square by 2M. Sorry, M square. P square by M square. 1 M will get cut. So, you will be ending up with this expression. Kinetic energy is equal to P square upon 2M. Kinetic energy is equal to P square upon 2M. Okay. Also, I can get from this P square is 2mk. This is kinetic energy in terms of momentum. Now, if I have to get an expression for momentum in terms of kinetic energy, so I just have to rearrange this equation. So, it becomes like this. So, P will be square root of 2mk. You remember any one thing, the other one automatically you can derive it. Okay. So, K is P square by 2m or P is equal to square root of 2mk. Is it clear, children? So, these two formulas you are supposed to remember. Okay. So, it's given P is equal to square root of 2mk or P square by 2m. Now, you will have logical questions based on this. Okay. You'll have logical questions based on this. Now, there are two cases given in your book. We are going to do that. Case 1. If a light body A, I am reading this paragraph. If a light body A of mass m and a heavy body B of mass m. Okay, so A and B. You need not copy this because there is an exercise question I'm going to give us homework based on this. So you can do that. Now try to understand. Okay. So two bodies A and B. A is light body and of mass m. Okay. This is light and this is heavy. So mass of this is small m and mass of this is capital M. Is it clear? And capital M will be greater than small m because this is heavy. Both have same momentum. Both have same momentum. So momentum of this is also P and momentum of this is also P. Okay, mass was different. Then they are asking you to compare the kinetic energy. Okay, mass is different. Let's say this is a light body, this is a heavy body. Both are having the same momentum. Then who will have more kinetic energy? That is the question. Okay. So kinetic energy of A will be, if you remember the expression, K is equal to P square by 2M. Okay. So Ka for body A, it will be P square by 2 small m. And for B, Kb is equal to P square by 2 capital M, because I have taken mass of B as M, capital M. Now, Ka upon Kb. Ka upon Kb will be P square by 2M upon P square by 2 capital M. So, P square by 2M into 2 capital M by P square. P square get cut, 2 into 2 will get cut. So you will have capital M upon small m. Capital M upon small m. But we know that M is greater than, okay, capital M is greater than small m. So numerator will be greater than denominator. Therefore, Ka will be greater than Kb. So after this you will write, since capital M is greater than small m, Ka will be greater than Kb. Numerator is greater than denominator. So here also numerator will be greater than denominator. So your conclusion is body A will have more kinetic energy. Body A will have more kinetic energy. Though its mass is less, but that is having more kinetic energy. Is it clear, children? Now, they have given another case in which again A is a light body, B is a heavy body, mass is like this, but both were having same kinetic energy. They were not having same momentum, they are having same kinetic energy, K and K. Then you have to compare the momentum. Is it clear? There they had same momentum and you have to compare the kinetic energy. Here they have same kinetic energy, but you have to compare the momentum. So which formula I'll use? The other one. The other formula for P, that is root of 2mk. I have to use that. So momentum of A will be root of 2 small m into k, and momentum of B will be root of 2 capital M to k. Now, PA by PB, momentum of A upon momentum of B, root of 2mk upon root of 2 capital M k. So you can, because it's multiplication, these two will get cut. Okay, so you will end up having root of small m by capital M. Okay, so here small m is in the numerator, capital M is in the denominator. Now, the conclusion is, since capital M is greater than small m, PB, your denominator, here denominator is more than the numerator. So, PB, momentum of B will be greater than momentum of A. This is the conclusion. Just the opposite of what you had in the previous case. Is it clear, children? Okay, so these two come in logical questions. So you should be able to do that. Next is work energy theorem. Okay, so this is just the statement and the expression. No need of doing the derivation, just the statement and the expression. So according to work energy theorem, the increase in kinetic energy of a moving body is equal to the work done by the force in the direction of moving body. Now suppose this car was moving with the initial velocity u, okay, and I applied a force F and its velocity changed to v, increase in velocity, not stopping, okay. It was coming with less velocity, I applied a force and its velocity increases. So then what they are saying is, so kinetic energy will also increase. So work done by this force will be equal to increase in kinetic energy. That's the work energy theorem. Work done will be equal to increase in kinetic energy. So if I have to write it as expression, so suppose you have assumed that the body was moving with the initial velocity u, final velocity v. So work done is equal to increase in kinetic energy, that is half m v square minus half m u square, or half m is common, v square minus u square. Is it clear, children? Okay, so this is work energy theorem, just the statement and the expression is enough. Okay, now forms of kinetic energy. Okay, forms of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy also can have three forms: translational kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy, and vibrational kinetic energy. Just underline the definitions. They don't ask them, but you need to know the information. Translational means body moving in a straight line, energy possessed by a body moving in a straight line. Rotational, body moving in a circular path. Vibrational, body which is undergoing a vibration up and down or to and fro motion, whatever is the energy possessed by that, that is vibrational. You can just go through the examples in each case. Okay. Now, conversion of potential energy to kinetic energy. I have written, read all the examples. Read all the examples. Yeah. So, I think this you have studied from smaller classes. When I stretch a rubber band, it is because of the change in shape, it has potential energy, and when I release it, it gets converted to kinetic energy. So that's why it's able to move faster, or it can hurt you if you stand close by. So basically potential energy gets converted to kinetic energy. So all these examples you can go through it, which you have studied in smaller classes. Now homework for today is, so this I assume that you would have done already. That is, a body of mass m is moving with a velocity v. Derive the expression. Okay, please cut it and write derive. And I assume that you have done the derivation already. Assume the expression. Now come to the B part. I want you to solve 9b. 12. Okay, 12. Please write give reason. I know the answer is there. Directly it's given lighter mass and he has given a short explanation, but I want you to give the proper reason that I did as case 1, case 2. You have to write that. So please write here, give reason. Same way, next question also, give reason. I want the full explanation. Thank you, children.